A warm good morning to all. This is Major S. Edwin Gladson, Associate NCC Officer, St. Saviour's Catholic College of Engineering, Nagarkoil. As the convener of this workshop, I am extremely happy to welcome you all for this 5-day online workshop on role of youth in nation building from 27th July to 31st July 2020, jointly organized by Nesamani Memorial Christian College, Marthandam and St. Saviour's Catholic College of Engineering, Nagarkoil, in association with 11 Tamil Nadu Battalion NCC, Nagarkoil. With immense pleasure, I welcome Colonel Vinod Bhaskar, Officer Commanding, and Lieutenant Colonel V.V. Prasad, Administrative Officer, 11 Tamil Nadu Battalion NCC, Nagarkoil. They have inspired us and motivated us to conduct this workshop. I am extremely happy to welcome Advocate L. Rajadurai, the correspondent, Dr. K. Paulraj, the principal, and Dr. G.D. Biji, Vice Principal of Nesamani Memorial Christian College, Marthandam. They really encouraged us to accomplish various tasks and guided us to conduct this program successfully. I am very proud to welcome Reverend Dr. M. Maria William, the correspondent, Dr. J. Mageshwaran, the principal, and Reverend Father M. Francis Xavier, the bursar of St. Saviour's Catholic College of Engineering, Nagarkoil. The guidance and the support they gave for conducting this workshop is commendable. I take this opportunity to welcome the resource persons of this workshop. Captain BINOY VARAKIL, Associate NCC Officer, St. Joseph's College, Devagiri, Kozhikode. Captain Dr. Boyd Wesley, ANO, NMC College, Marthandam. Lieutenant Dr. L. Merlin Diana, ANO, Jayaraj Annapakyam College for Women, Periyakulam. Sub-Lieutenant Dr. C. Binu Ramesh, ANO, Tyagarajar College, Madurai, and Captain Dr. Pramod K.S., ANO, St. Mary's College, Wayanad. I am grateful to all resource persons for accepting our invitation, spending valuable time, and sharing their ideas with young minds. It is my bound duty to welcome Captain Dr. Boyd Wesley, ANO, NMC College, Marthandam, and the organizing secretary of this workshop. He planned this program well in advance, and his hard work has shaped this program into a better one. Also, I extend a cheerful welcome to all officers and ANOs for encouraging their cadets to participate in this workshop. Finally, dear participants, learning is a continuous process. I appreciate your interest on learning and welcome you all for this workshop. Now, coming to the workshop, National Cadet Corps has the mission to train the cadets to uphold the unity of India and to make our youth disciplined and responsible citizens of our nation. As we know, it is the biggest youth organization of our nation. NCC, with its motto of unity and discipline, has been molding the characters of millions of youth by imbibing the qualities of leadership, discipline, courage, confidence, sportsmanship, etc. The NCC is a responsive, learning, and continuously evolving organization. It is using all possible ways to train its cadets and inculcates social responsibility among cadets. Whenever there is a national disaster, NCC cadets are there to help the public. Let it be flood or earthquake or the current COVID-19 pandemic. The participation and involvement of cadets in ex-NCC Yogdan is remarkable. As the youth power is absolutely high, it has to be channelized in a proper way. The workshop aims to help the cadets to improve their self, make them to understand the importance of national integration and finally motivate them to serve society, thus contributing towards nation building. The methodology used in this workshop is one video will be posted in the Google Classroom on each day by 10 a.m. After watching the video, you are supposed to fill the feedback through Google Forms posted in the Google Classroom, and it will be disabled at 8 p.m. on the same day. Before that, watch the video and fill the feedback. I request the participants to attend the workshop sincerely and get maximum benefit of it. World hates change, yet it is the only thing that has brought progress. So, be ready to change for a cause. Best wishes. Now, let us listen to Dr. K. Paulraj, Principal of Nesamani Memorial Christian College, Marthandam, and Dr. J. Mageshwaran, Principal of St. Xavier's Catholic College of Engineering, Nagarkoil. Thank you.
Most respected and honorable officers of the 11th Tamil Nadu Battalion NCC Nagarkovil, correspondent, vice principal and bursar of our Nesamani Memorial Christian College, Marthandam, correspondent, principal and bursar of St. Xavier's Catholic College of Engineering, Nagarkovil, resource persons, participants, that is the NCC cadets of our country, and student members. Good morning to all of you. I welcome you all on behalf of the Nesamani Memorial Christian College, Marthandam, jointly organizing by St. Xavier's Catholic College of Engineering, Nagarkovil, in association with the 11th Tamil Nadu Battalion NCC, Nagarkovil. The youth of any country is a great asset. They are the future of the country. The intelligence and work of the youth will take the country on the pathway of success. They are the building blocks of the country. The youths are very energetic and enthusiastic. They have the ability to learn and adapt to the environment. They will learn and act on it to achieve their goals. We must make all the youth aware of their power and the role they have to play in nation building. Our youth has the power to build a nation, so we must give them the opportunity. They are the future. NCC is the largest uniformed youth organization in the world. Its motto is unity and discipline. The NCC strives to be and is one of the greatest cohesive forces of the nation, bringing together the youth hailing from different parts of the country and molding them into united, secular and disciplined citizens of the nation. Strength of NCC is nearly 13 lakh youth. The NCC aims at developing character, discipline, a secular outlook, the spirit. For this purpose only, the 5 days online workshop entitled on Role of Youth in Nation Building is arranged under the topics communication skills, life skills, awareness on national integration, hygiene and sanitation during COVID-19 pandemic, contribution of youth towards social welfare. Really, on behalf of the NMCC family, I congratulate and appreciate the efforts taken by the 11th Tamil Nadu Battalion NCC Nagarkovil, also St. Xavier's Catholic College of Engineering, Nagarkovil. I hope at the end of the 5 days program, all the participants will be benefited, enriched and enlightened with the importance of the NCC and what are the things we have to do for our country. I congratulate, thank our resource person for sharing their time for our NCC cadets. Once again, I thank all the organizers. Thank you one and all.
Officer Commanding and Administrative Officer of 11 Tamil Nadu Battalion NCC Nagarkoil, Reverend Father Correspondent of St. Saviour's Catholic College of Engineering, Correspondent and Principal of Nesamani Memorial Christian College, Organizing Secretary Dr. Wesley, Convener Dr. Edwin, resource persons of this workshop, cadets and participants of this workshop, good morning to you all. I am very happy to note that NCC units of St. Saviour's Catholic College of Engineering and Nesamani Memorial Christian College are jointly organizing 5 days online workshop on role of youth in nation building from 27th July to 31st July. In India, National Cadet Corps was established with an aim of grooming both the boys and the girls, nurture them and direct their energy towards nation building by making them responsible citizens. NCC aims to develop character, comradeship, discipline, leadership, secular outlook, spirit of adventure and ideals of selfless service among the youth of the country. It also creates a human resource of organized, trained and motivated youth always available for the service of the nation. The organizers identified the right title for this workshop, which is much needed today. A country's greatest asset is its youth. Today's youth are tomorrow's leaders. They are energetic and enthusiastic. They have to be molded and guided in the right path. We must make all the youth aware of their power and their role in nation building. Our youth can bring social reforms and improvement in the society. Our nation requires their participation to achieve the goals and help in taking the country towards progress. I am happy in noting down the topics to be discussed in this workshop: communication skills, life skills, national integration, hygiene and sanitation during COVID-19, contribution towards social welfare. I congratulate all the resource persons. I congratulate all the participants. Once again, my appreciations to the organizers of this workshop on role of youth in nation building. Best wishes for the success of this workshop. All the best.
Respected Officer Commanding and Administrative Officer of 11 Tamil Nadu Battalion NCC Nagarkoil, respected Correspondent, Principal and Bursar of St. Saviour's Catholic College of Engineering Nagarkoil, respected Correspondent, Principal, Vice Principal and Bursar of Nesamani Memorial Christian College Marthandam, resource persons for this 5-day online workshop and my dear participants, a very good morning to all of you. It is my great honor and pleasure to introduce today's resource person, Captain BINOY VARAKIL, Associate NCC Officer, St. Joseph's College, Autonomous Devagiri, Kozhikode. He is working as Assistant Professor in the Department of English. His services towards the society is so appreciable. It is so impossible to mention his every single accomplishment because they are a lot. His achievements have been recognized by many different awards. Some of the awards, such as Abraham Lincoln Excellence Award for the novel Mountains, Rivers and Soldiers in 2020, the Lippi Paravasa Logam Sahitya Award was given to his novel Vishwadahalan in 2019. He won the Special Jury Award in Shakespeare's As You Like It Poetry Contest during 2016. As pearls in his crown, some of other achievements also there. One such achievement was he has contributed nearly 16 books of poetry, short story and novel. We have to recognize Captain Binoy's outstanding talents as a professor and mentor. Those students lucky enough to take classes from Captain Binoy have always been amazed by his ability to make even the most complex concept understandable. As far as NCC is concerned, his hard work, his involvement and his dedication for the upliftment of student, that is cadet, is so appreciable. Such a talented personality is our today's resource person. In this juncture, I have to thank the convener of the 5 days online workshop, Major Edwin, for arranging such a dynamic personality to deliver us the lecture on communication skill. I welcome and give thanks to Captain Binoy VARAKIL for his lecture on communication skills. Thank you.
I'm very happy to be part of this 5 days national workshop on role of youth in nation building. My sincere congratulations go to 11 Tamil Nadu Battalion NCC, and I wish to congratulate St. Xavier's Catholic College of Engineering Nagarkovil and Nesamani Memorial Christian College Marthanda. The topic role of youth in nation building has so much of significance, and I must express my gratitude because, as you all know, I'm in fact honored by being invited to this function in Tamil Nadu, this particular Tamil Nadu, Pondicherry, Andaman and Nicobar Directorate. So I wish to thank the principal of Nesamani Memorial Christian College, Marthandam, Dr. K. Polraj, and my sincere thanks come to principal of St. Xavier's Engineering College, Dr. J. Maheshwaran, and I respect and salute Colonel Vinod Bhaskar, Commanding Officer of 11th Tamil Nadu Battalion, NCC Nagarkovil, and my sincere congratulations and respect and salute to Lieutenant Colonel V.V. Prasad, AO 11th Tamil Nadu Battalion, NCC, and I express my gratitude to Advocate L. Rajadurai, Dr. G.B. PG, and Reverend Dr. M. Maria William, Reverend Father M. Francis Xavier, and of course, I must mention and I will always remember the names of the Associate NCC officers, Major Dr. S. Edwin Gladson and Captain Dr. A. Boyd Wesley. So thank you so much, Major Edwin Gladson and Captain Dr. A. Boyd Wesley, for considering me to this particular function That is, of course, you have just honored me by inviting to lecture on a session on communication skills. I thank you all and I salute you all. Now, let me just begin my session. I'm just speaking about communication skills. And before beginning my lecture passage about communication skills, I would like to quote a few words. ஆதியிலே வார்த்தை இருந்தது, அந்த வார்த்தை தேவரிடத்தில் இருந்தது, அந்த வார்த்தை தேவனாய் இருந்தது. Yes, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. St. John chapter 1 verse 1. This quotation from the Holy Bible is about the necessity of effective communication skills. This is about the necessity of using the language effectively. This particular quotation helps us understand the effectiveness of communication. And God was the Word. The Word is omnipotent. The Word is omniscient. It is omnipresent. It's very powerful. And the entire universe, the existence of the universe, the growth and development of the universe is because of the Word. And the Word was, of course, God. And we human beings, we use word every day. We cannot live without words. Words are everywhere. It's everywhere. And when we think of people, we have a number of people. We have great people like our Prime Minister Narendra Modi. We have great people again like the former President of the United States of America, Barack Obama. We remember Martin Luther King. We remember John F. Kennedy. We remember Mahatma Gandhi. We remember our own M. Karunanidhi and our own Honorable MGR. And we understand that all these personalities are experts in speech. They have great communication skills. And it is with their communication skills that they won hearts. And today, when I address this gathering, when I address the participants of this national workshop, I have to assert the fact that without communication skills, no one can reach anywhere. Communication skills will make an individual a leader. And now I am quoting the words of Jim Robin. According to Jim Robin, effective communication is 20% what you know and 80% how you feel about what you know. So maybe your knowledge is just very little, but that little knowledge you have, if you present in the right way, you will be successful. So it doesn't matter the quantity of knowledge isn't matter much. What matters is your communicative skills. So I welcome each of the cadets of this particular national camp to listen to me. You will really benefit from this session on communication skills. And I congratulate the cadets in this national workshop because you have become part of this largest national youth organization. You are representing the country. You are representing India. And you, the youth of today, as the camp is about, this workshop is about role of youth in nation building. And you will contribute to a better India tomorrow. You will contribute to a developed an India that is leading the other countries. And it is not anyone else who is leading an India. It is you who lead India. Today's young men and women, today's cadets, National Cadet Corps, you in the workshop can lead the country, can lead the world, and communication skills have a lot of significance. And I just request you to listen very carefully to this session and ensure, please ensure that you have effective communication skills. And I would like to tell you how this session is going forward. So in my first session, I'll be just introducing, in fact, I'm defining what is communication. I'm defining what is communication, and thereafter I'll be just telling you some of the important aspects of communication. So let us understand what is communication. What is communication? Yeah, what I do at the moment is communication. I am facing you, I am looking at you, I am just talking to you, I'm using my limbs, I'm using my hands. I'm using my eyes, I'm using my face, I'm using my voice, I'm just looking at you, I'm just talking to you. This is communication. Communication is the exchange of information between people. Okay? Yeah, I am now exchanging some information. I'm exchanging information about communication skills. And this kind of exchange of information between people, among persons is what is known as communication. It is an exchange of information. Now I am doing the same thing. Tomorrow, today's cadets will be associate NCC officers. You will be professors. You will be member of parliaments. You will be chief ministers. You will be prime ministers. You will be the governor of the Reserve Bank of India. You will be the president one day, and you have to exchange information to your people. You as the chief minister exchanging information. And now comes the question, how do we exchange information? Easy to understand. How do we exchange information? Yeah, what do I do right now? I am speaking. Yeah, and I'm also using this whiteboard. So we exchange information with the help of words, speech, language, speaking. We exchange information with the help of what is on the board, writing. And yeah, I'm using my gestures. We exchange information by means of signs, symbols, gestures. Okay, this is what is communication. So understand, communication is the exchange of information between people by means of speaking, writing, or signs. And now everybody knows the significance of communication. Communication is very important because we are human beings. We are human beings and we are social animals. Man is a social animal. We live in the society. And you know, family is the basic form of society. You live with your dad, you live with your mom, you live with your grandpa, your grandma, your brother, your sister. That is the basic of society. And so many families together is the society. Many families, your residential association, your neighborhood, your families, and of course all these families together is society. And man is a social animal, and communication is the intrinsic quality of man. Communication is the intrinsic quality of man. So we cannot just live as islands. I cannot live as an island. I must interact with my wife. I must interact with my dad. I must interact with my son, I must interact with my daughter, I must interact with my neighbor, I must interact with my students, I must interact with my principal, I must interact with my commanding officer, I may have to interact with the Prime Minister, because I am an Indian and I'm a human being, and we are living in the biggest democracy of the world, India. So it is easy to understand. The significance of communication is easy to understand. Now, of course, I'm just defining communication in with another definition. We can understand that communication may be right. It can be defined as it's a process of sharing facts. I'm telling you certain things. I want each of you. I want each of my young friends, these cadets here, the SDs, the senior division, and of course the junior division. All of you, you are the backbone of the country. You are the pillars of the nation, and I want each of the pillars of the nation, the backbone of the nation, to be strong, like a huge iron pole. You must be. For that, you need to have communication skills. With that purpose, I'm just talking to you. All right? So understand that communication is a process of sharing facts, ideas, opinions, thoughts, and information through speech, writing, gestures, or symbols between two or more people. And it is, of course, a universal phenomenon. People in Kerala, people in Tamil Nadu, people in Andhra Pradesh, people in Bangalore, Karnataka, people in India, people in Australia, Canada, America, even South Africa, everybody speak and communicate. So communication is a universal phenomenon, and of course it happens all the time. From the very days of the original man, from the very days of Adam and Eve, down to this moment, okay, this moment of COVID-19, the pandemic, communication is there, and it will always be there. Now, of course, I am very sad. You are all sad about the COVID-19 situation, and maybe we are asked to go for social distancing. We are asked to go for social distancing, but even when we distance ourselves from the other person, I am distancing myself from my wife, I am distancing myself from my son and my daughter, I am distancing myself from my principal, my commanding officer, but I can never live without communicating with them. That itself shows the necessity of communication skills. And if I don't succeed in communicating with my wife, if I don't succeed in communicating with my dad, my principal, my commanding officer, my colleagues, my neighbors, I will be a total failure. So I wish to tell you, my dear young brothers and sisters, communication skills is very essential for the success of a human being, and you must ensure that you have a very good command over the languages. I say all the languages is if possible. Maybe you have a mother tongue, okay, you have Tamil as your mother tongue, you have Kannada as your mother tongue, you have, of course, Bengali as your mother tongue, or even Malayalam as your mother tongue. Whatever be your mother tongue, you must know an additional language, a foreign language, maybe a language like English, which will connect you to the outer world. With your Malayalam, with your Tamil, with your Kannada, you cannot communicate with somebody in United States of America. You cannot communicate with somebody in South Africa. You cannot communicate with somebody in Qatar, or of course in Vatican, or in Japan, or in China. So you must improve your language skills as well. Now let me just tell you, in fact, this particular lecture, my lecture on communication skills, will be done in different sections, right? So the purpose is, of course, to understand the basis of styles and ways of communication. We'll be discussing the basis of styles and ways of communication. We will be discussing to effectively communicate. Okay, how to effectively communicate. How can we communicate effectively? And we shall be having this lecture in 3 parts. Part 1, we will discuss understanding the basics of communication. We are discussing the basics of communication. Part 2, we are discussing styles and ways of communication. And part 3, we will be discussing effective communication. And I'll be just sharing some tips for effective communication. So let us just have a short break, and after some time we will start our discussion of understanding the basics of communication. Thank you very much. We continue the discussion of role of youth in nation building, and we know that the strength of the nation, the strength of any nation is the youth. And now we have to consider strengthening the youth, empowering the youth, because youth is the backbone and the strength of the nation. And NCC, the National Cadet Corps, the officers of the National Cadet Corps, the associate NCC officers, everybody knows the significance of empowering the youth. That is the reason why we are organizing a number of camps like this. And this 5 days online workshop on role of youth in nation building, it has a lot of significance. It has a lot of significance, and we are discussing a number of subjects and topics in this workshop, 5 days workshop, and I am just helping the discussion of communication skills. And remember, I said the role of youth in nation building is tremendous, remarkable, and no doubt about that. And if we have a strong, if we have an efficient, if we have a proficient, if we have a productive, qualitative leadership from the side of our young men and women, our country will definitely soar up to glory and greatness, excellence. And this can be assured by communication skills. If each of the young men and women in our society, in the schools and colleges and other educational institutions or the universities of the country are very, very effective in communication skills, each of the youth will easily be empowered and they can gain jobs, they can easily accomplish their ambition. And luckily, all the cadets in NCC have big dreams. They are all dreaming to be commissioned officers, ambassadors, IAS officers, IPS officers, lawyers, professors, governors, CEOs, likewise. And the most significant factor to empower our young men and women is communication skill. And we are discussing the same today because we know it has a lot to contribute to the empowerment of young men and women of the nation. And you, the NCC cadets, as well as the students of the colleges and schools, please know the fact that language skills is very essential for the development of personality. Language skills is very, very important. All the language skills are very important. And you know the language skills and communication skills go hand in hand. And communication skills, okay, we are discussing right now. And what are language skills? They are listening, speaking, reading and writing. And each of the young men and women of our country are given free education in the schools, and they go to the universities, they go to the colleges, and from there they must ensure that they just dedicate themselves for the improvement of their language skills. And now, in the second part of the discussion of communication skills, we are discussing understanding basics of communication. Now, this session is about discussing or understanding, analyzing basics of communication. And the first point in this particular section is, of course, what is communication? We know that I said in the beginning, communication is conveying a message in different media. Okay, see, you can convey a message, number one, through verbal medium. Say, what is verbal? That is, of course, spoken. And next is, of course, written. And next is, of course, gestures, signs, symbols, and all. So, one a person, if any human being or any individual, any young man and young men, all right, if they just want to succeed in their life, they must be completely confident of conveying a message through, number one, verbal communication, that is speech; number two, written communication, that is writing; and number three, proper gestures, proper signs. So we have to be sure about the speech. And now when I speak about the first point in the basics of communication, that is, of course, verbal or spoken. Okay, any individual, we will like people who just behave naturally to us. Say, for example, we have to use the spoken language. Everybody has to use it, and we have to use it. We have to use spoken language. All the languages, or all maybe your mother tongue, you have to use efficiently. You have to learn as many languages as possible, and you have to use it in the right context. Say, from the very beginning of the day itself. And what do you do in the day? You wake up, okay, you have to use the language. So from the moment you open your eyes and you just look at your dad, look at your mom, use the language. That is the verbal use of language. And do you use it? Do you try to? If not, please do that today or from tomorrow onwards. Okay, you wake up, you look at your dad. Do you smile at your dad? Do you smile at your mom? Do you greet him? Good morning, dad. Good morning, mom. Do you greet your brother? Do you greet your sister? Oh, you don't think this way. Oh, this is my dad. I see him every day. Why should I greet him? No, you have to. And these are all basic practices, habits we need to inculcate in ourselves. No matter whether it is your dad, no matter whether you see him every day, no matter whether it is, of course, yes. Don't think that it is irrelevant. It is relevant, because that just shows your personality. If you don't greet your dad, you will not greet your neighbor. If you don't greet your dad and your neighbor, you won't greet your principal. If you don't greet your dad and your neighbor and your principal, you don't greet the Prime Minister. If you see the Prime Minister, think of that. You get a chance to see the Prime Minister, talk to the Prime Minister, and you will say, yeah, this is my Prime Minister. Why should I greet him? So please be sure about all these simple things, and step by step, through these simple steps, you are improving your communication skills. So verbal communication, spoken communication, you have to, of course, greet people. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, namaste, vanakkam, how are you, assalamu alaikum, right? All these greetings, right, you have to use, and that shows your personality, that shows your communication skill. So we are discussing basics of communication, and of course we have to convey messages, and we are using different means for communicating or conveying messages. We use the spoken language, we use the written also. Written, dear cadets, please be sure about your written language. Please ask yourself, how is my writing? How is my writing of my mother tongue? How do I write Tamil? How do I write Hindi? How do I write Kannada? How do I write Malayalam? How do I write English? I learned German. How do I write German? I learned Spanish. How do I write Spanish? Ask yourself. And if you don't write your mother tongue perfectly, if there are errors in your mother tongue, it is very bad. It's very bad. Be sure of your writing, your mother tongue. Be sure of your writing, a foreign language, your second language, your third language, and you get a lot of chance to learn that. In all the schools and colleges of Kerala, in all the schools and colleges of Tamil Nadu, in all the schools and colleges of our country, India, every young men or rather all the boys and girls are taught the language, right? English, Hindi, Tamil, Kannada, Telugu, all right, everything. And you must be having a good written language. And your teachers help you. You have to take some effort. Go on writing and writing and writing. Thereby you can be good in your writing. So know that the means of communication, the medium of communication, right? You have spoken, you have written, and of course you have gestures and signs. And now we move on to, of course, the discussion of basics of communication. So the first basic of communication is, the first point or important factor in communication is just conveying a message. How do you convey a message? We convey message through verbal medium. We convey message through written medium. We convey message through signs and symbols, rather non-verbal. All right. Now we move on to the next point. That is, of course, when it comes to communication. Right, communication has a lot to do with relationships. Relationships. Okay. If you don't communicate, your relationship may not be rather warm. So you have to communicate with your dad. As I said, everything has to begin from home. Like Nizim Ezekiel says, home is the place from where one gathers grace. So don't be reluctant to greet your dad. Don't be reluctant to greet your mom. Don't be reluctant to greet your brother, your sister. Greet them. Similarly, greet your neighbors. Greet your friends. And there is nothing wrong in greeting that stranger you see in the road when you are jogging. You're jogging because you want to be healthy. And how can you be healthy without just smiling at a human being? A human being is your brother, and you are jogging. A stranger in the road, he is also jogging. You are not smiling at him, you are not greeting him. Why? You know that he is a human being. All human beings are our brothers and sisters. All Indians are our brothers and sisters. You are in an Indian road, so you see a stranger that is not a stranger, is an Indian. So in the morning, when you are jogging, when you are just running, you are cycling, just smile. And of course, if the other person is smiling, okay, you got to use your prudence again, right? If you are smiling at him and the other person is smiling at you, just greet him. What is the result? You are improving your communication skills. Slowly, slowly, you are making relationship. So communication has a lot to do with relationships. Okay, so if you don't communicate with your parents, your brothers, your sisters, your neighbor, you don't talk to them at all, what will happen? You don't talk, what will happen? You don't know what's in their mind. They don't know what's in your mind. Your neighbor doesn't know what's in your mind, what's in his. You don't know what's in his mind. Your boss doesn't know what's in your mind. You know what's in your boss' mind. Please communicate to your parents, communicate to your brothers, communicate to your neighbors, communicate to your friends, your colleagues, so that there is no suspicion, there is no misunderstanding, there is no guessing, there is no speculation, there is no false assumptions. We hear about a lot of fighting, quarrels, lynching, murder, a lot of negative, evil incidents in our country, in our society, in our residential association, in our neighborhood. Why? All this is because of lack of communication. So please be in the habit of communicating. You get a chance to speak to somebody, speak. You get a chance to, of course, no, I know COVID, and I know about the significance of social distancing. But if everything is okay and in future you get a chance to shake hands with somebody, I mean, okay, if there is in the problem of the virus, shake hands, there is no problem. Otherwise, okay, you can just say the namaste or other greeting and you just make relationship. There is no communication, all the relationships break. Now we move on to the next aspect of communication, right? We are understanding the basics of communication. First point, the means of communication. Second point, okay, communication helps us to make relationship. No communication, relationships break. And now we move on to the yet another aspect of lack of communication. Okay, and lack of communication will breed or generate or create, make a lot of problems in relationships. Some time ago we saw that it is of course just breaking relationship. Other than that, it will of course cause a lot of problems in relationships. Say for example, you hear about a lot of divorces. You hear about a lot of separated families. You hear a lot about, of course, children without dad, children without mom, separated parents. Okay, a lot of problems like that. Parents without children, right? Parents thrown to the old age homes. A lot of problems like that. And all these problems in marriage, love, in office, in all the places where you have one-to-one interaction, that is just because of the lack of communication. And a wonderful example for what happens in a friendship or a relationship where there is no proper communication is the example is of course the play by Tennessee Williams. The American playwright Tennessee Williams has written a perfect, wonderful drama about psychological problems in relationship, and that is of course something unspoken. In that play you come across characters like Cornelia Scott and Grace Lancaster, and they have been together for more than 15 years, and despite of being together for 15 years, they don't know what is in the heart of each other. And this is happening in our society. This is happening in our family. Let us try to make warm relationships. Let us try to be loving and kind and affectionate through words, gestures, and maybe little bit of pampering, patting, and hugging. Now we move on to the next aspect of communication. That is, of course, right, understanding basic communication. Communication is not always just talking. It is not just always writing and all. It is, of course, like it is. Communication is, of course, right, expressing emotions. Communication is expressing emotions. It is expressing affection. You love your dad. You love your dad. You love your mom. You don't talk to them. You don't shake hands with them. You don't hug them. You don't kiss them. What is there? There is nothing. There is nothing in saying that that person is your dad or you are that person's son. So express your emotion, express your love, express your respect, express your concern, express your feelings towards your wife, your feelings towards your husband, your feelings towards your brother, your sister. Say you love him. Say you are important. He is important to you. Say your dad is important to you. Okay? Greet him, wish him, be with him, and this is very, very important. If there is no communication, relationships will break. And relationships, remember, relationships are like reservoirs. You have to fill relationships with feelings, emotions, affection, love, and all. You have to talk to your friend. Okay, so today you remember, when you hear me, when you listen to me, think of when did you say your dad, you love your dad. When did you say your mom you love your mom? When did you speak to your dad last? Did you speak to your neighbor? Did you speak to your brother? Did you speak to your colleague? Did you speak to your boss? Think of that. And now it is COVID and you don't see them. Okay, you can just think, did I call my neighbor? Did I call my brother in the US? Did I call my brother in Delhi? Did I call my brother in Srinagar? When did I? Did I call my sister in Cincinnati or my sister in Meghalaya? You didn't call because this will nourish, this will of course make the relationship more warm and strong. Otherwise your relationships will be empty and it would just collapse. All right, now we come to the next aspect. Okay, if there is, right, we are just going one by one. So means of communication, lack of communication, problems created by communication, and the necessity of expressing emotions and affections, all these come under communication skill. And now we say, we come to another point, that is of course, right, if there is so much of silence, right, sometimes there could be grudge or some kind of misunderstanding between people. You don't speak to your boss, you think that your boss is against you, you think that your boss doesn't care for you, you think that your head of the department doesn't care for you, you think that your principal doesn't care for you, you think that your tutor doesn't care for you, you think that your ANO doesn't care for you, you think that your senior under officer doesn't care for you, and you have some kind of anger. You have anger. Maybe you think that your dad doesn't care for you, your mom doesn't care for you, your brother doesn't care for you. Are you and you stop talking to him? Maybe it is a week since you spoke to your dad. Maybe it is 2 days since you spoke to your mom. Your mom is cooking for you. Your mom is serving you. Mom does all the laundry. And it is 2 days. It is 3 days. It's a week since you told her something. You asked her something. You spoke to her. You think that your mom doesn't like you. You think that your brother doesn't like you. You think that your ANO, your senior is angry with you. And you have same anger in you. And remember, this kind of harboring of, this is what is harboring of anger, accumulation of anger, accumulation of negative feelings, accumulation of grudges. If you are accumulating grudges like this, anger like this, hatred like this, negative feelings like this, you will be just like a very, very explosive bomb. You can break any moment, and all on a sudden you just walk through your living room, and as you're walking through your living room, you just hit against your brother, you just happen to slip and you just fall upon, or rather your brother just fall upon you, and all your emotion, your anger, your grudge, your hatred just comes out. Or rather in the college, rather in your NCC office, maybe during a parade, you hate your senior, okay, and somehow you happen to fall down just because of your senior, or rather just because your senior happened to be there, and all your anger, your hatred, your envy, your grudge, all this will just explode. And that would be a terrible scene, like a battlefield. You'll be just shouting at your senior, you'll be just shouting at your junior, you'll be shouting at your dad, your mom. Entire emotion, say entire relationship, entire good feelings, all the positive feelings is gone. And that is when you keep silence. Don't keep anything, don't remain silent. You have some misunderstanding, go to your friend, speak it out, solve your problem. Just ask him, what's happening, why don't you speak to me, did it happen, do you have any problem with me, how did it happen, okay, let it solve, right? Maybe you have to forget, maybe you have to forgive, and you forget and forgive and patch up your differences. Life will be more comfortable, life will be more cool, and there would be positive emotions of kindness, sharing, fellow feeling, love, sympathy, empathy, passion, compassion. all this will pour into your life, and your life will be something like a beautiful flower in the garden. Any gentle breeze can make a dance in the petals of that flower. So make your lives beautiful. Make your life a flower with a lot of fragrance. Make your life a bright flame like a candle, like just Florence Nightingale, Mother Teresa, Mahatma Gandhi, or any persons like that. Okay, so for all that, you have to remember all these basics of communication, to remember all the messages of communication, to remember, ensure relationships, okay, care for, bring up, protect and safeguard your relationship through communication skills. With that, we will just end this particular discussion. That is, of course, part one of communication skills, understanding basics of communication. And after a short break, we will just come to the second part, in which we are discussing, of course, the other relevance areas of communication skills. Thank you very much. Officers, associate NCC officers, permanent instructors, and my dear cadets. Now we begin the third session of our lecture on communicative skills, or rather communication skills. In fact, the major motto of this camp is role of youth in nation building. Role of youth in nation building. I was just conveying the idea, rather sharing the idea, that the youth has a very, very significant role in the building or the construction or the development of the nation. I conveyed that fact. Rather, I said in my beginning, in my first lecture, I said that youth is the pillar of the nation. Youth is the backbone of the nation. And in the second and the subsequent point, second part, and of course, thereafter I said that the empowerment of youth is possible only through communication skills. And last session, part 2 of the session, we saw that communication skills is not just the ability to speak something. Communication skills is not just the ability to speak something. It is not the ability to say something. It is not the ability to make some noise. No, it is not that. There are a lot of people. I can make a lot of noise. I am making a lot of noise. Yeah, right. But I must look into myself. I must ask myself, what is the use of my noise? I make a lot of noise. You and I make a lot of noise. Similarly, each of us make a lot of noise. So we should ask ourselves, does this noise I make, does all this kind of noise, does all the chaos, does this storm I make, does the very, very loud voice that comes from my chest, my heart, my lungs, help the society? Does it help the society? Does it help anybody? That is the very significant question we have to ask. Communication skills. There are a lot of people who can make a lot of noise. There are a lot of people who make a lot of speeches, great speakers, great orators. Do they help their family? Does their voice, or do their voice contribute to the development of their family? Does it in any way help any members of their family? Does it in any way help the very office they work in? Does it in any way help the very organization they work for? Does it in any way help the state, the country, the world? This is what we have to discuss, because today's young man is tomorrow's state leader, national leader, international leader. So we have to ask. Communication skills, we know how to make a lot of noise. We know how to speak in our language. We know how to write, and we are improving it. We are listening to the BBC. We are listening to the Voice of America. We are listening to CNN. We are listening to India Today. We have all the channels in front of us. It is inside our pocket. It's everywhere, and we are listening to it. We have, of course, devices stuck into our ears. We have devices stuck into all the organs of the body. I can see people when I just jog in the road, rather when I just work outside. When I work in my farm, I can see people just walk in the road. They have mobiles in their pockets, in the pockets of their trousers. They have mobiles in their shirt pocket. Their devices or the headset is just stuck into the ears. Access to all the channels, access to a number of sources to improve the language, improve, of course, communication skills. But we are discussing role of youth in nation building, and now we have to consider, yeah, we have communication skills, and is communication skill, or does it just refer to the ability to speak, the ability to write, the ability to make some noise? And here comes the next part of our discussion, that is part 2, styles and ways of communication. We are discussing the second part of our topic, communication skills, styles and ways of communication. Very, very relevant. What is communication? What is real communication? Why should you communicate? That is what we discuss here. I can make a noise. I can make a lot of noise. I am making a lot of noise. People make a lot of noise. I can make a lot of noise in Hindi. I can rather, maybe people can. No, I'm so, I don't say about myself. I don't make much noise in Hindi. My Hindi is not that good. But there are people who can handle 10 languages. There are people who can handle 15 languages. All the skills, writing, speaking, okay, anything and everything. Question is, does it help the society? Does it help the community? Does it help the country? Does it help the own family? And now we have to look at styles and ways of communication. And now we have to understand there are 3 styles of communication. There are 3 styles of communication. Okay, in fact, ours is, of course, this national camp is a camp for NCC cadets, and all the topics we discussed so far is very important for your common subjects. There will be plenty of questions from all these topics for your NCC C certificate examination, your NCC B certificate examination, and even it is helpful for the JD junior division. They will also find it useful for their A certificate examination, communication skills. And remember, you have to be very careful about what is communication, what are, of course, different aspects of communication. And right now we are discussing styles of communication, and there are 3 styles of communication. And here you have to understand that some kind of communication, some people, they have a lot of communication skills, they can speak a lot of languages, but their communication style is number 1. What is that? It is aggressive. There are 3 styles of communication styles. There are 3 styles of communication. Style number 1, aggressive. Aggressive. You might see such people. There could be such cadets among us, but if there is, of course, if I am if my communication skill is aggressive, I must change. If any of our cadets communication style is, of course, aggressive, we have to change. Even in the family, if any of our communication style is aggressive, we have to change. Let us understand what is aggressive communication style. Aggressive communication style, I would say it is in fact a kind of dominating kind of, suppressing kind of, oppressing kind of, eliminating kind of communication. Aggressive communication. Just, I am the boss, I am everything, I only can speak, I alone know things, I am the most powerful person here. That is the kind of attitude of the aggressive people having this kind of style. Some people, they always make a lot of noise. At home, they quarrel with their family, their father, their mother, their wife, son, daughter, everybody. Aggressive style. They never speak in a polite, humble, rather with any kind of politeness or any kind of humility. They don't care for others. I am the powerful person. Very, very, very aggressive, arrogant, egoistic. Remember, humility is the queen of virtues. Think of our Mahatma Gandhi, father of our nation. All the English people attending the round table conference called him half naked fakir, half naked fakir. And on the way to, of course, the conference, in the train, he was being spit upon by his fellow passengers, Englishmen, white people. But he did not have the aggressive kind of communicative style. So aggressive. So exam point of view. Okay, what are the styles of communication? All right, aggressive style where the speaker is just very dominating, and he believes that he is, of course, the most important person. I am never wrong. I am always right. I know everything. I can just solve any issues. Okay, and I have all the right. I have all the power. You don't have any power. This particular style, the person doesn't let others to have minimum right. No, remain silent there. Don't speak anything. That is their attitude, and that's the aggressive style, and it is very, very dangerous. Very dangerous. And remember, in the aggressive style, what happens is these people never smile. They never have a smile. They are always angry, very, very, very protesting, rebellious, quarrelsome kind of people, just like king cobras, just hissing, 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 like tigers roaring and lions bark, even wild dogs or stray dogs just barking. Aggressive style of communication, very bad. Maybe if they are the head of any office, the condition of the colleagues is very pathetic. They will always have to remain very, very submissive and just like slaves because the boss is having aggressive style. So, my dear friends, let us not have this kind of aggressive style when we communicate. Let us be humble. Let us be rather friendly. Let us just respect others. And this is about the first style of communication, the aggressive style, and it is not at all good. This aggressive style is not at all good. It is very bad, very bad. Okay, and we don't want. We are speaking about the role of youth in our nation. Our young men. Remember, we had the independence struggle. Of course, many leaders wanted the radical kind of fighting. They wanted, of course, just fight against the British people, real fighting. But Gandhiji always said, hold on to truth, hold on to satyagraha, ahimsa, non-violence. That should be we are Indians. We have great leaders like that. And role of the Indian youth today in nation building is, of course, to walk in the very path that the father of the nation showed. So we must be humble. We must, of course, have a lot of good qualities. If there is a good person in a family, that family is a very strong family. If there are good people in all the families, that society is a strong family. If all the people in the country, in India, are good, if all the young men in the country are good, our country would be the strongest country. So that kind of a country is the country our great leaders dreamed. Gandhiji dreamed, Tagore dreamed, Rajiv Gandhi, Indira Gandhi, all these people just had such a dream of an India where the positivity is spreading, energy is spreading, goodness is spreading. With goodness you have progress, with goodness you have prosperity, with goodness India will go up. This is the role of the youth, I would say, and we should have very Good communication skill, very good communication style, never the aggressive style. I'm just moving on to the next style, that is of course passive communication style. Communication style, the second type is passive type of communication. And this kind of passive type of communication, remember, I can just, now I am talking, I am talking, you are listening to me, and even you can just yeah, stop, you can just sleep there. If you are sleeping there, you are being passive. If you are just looking out, okay, if you are looking out at the trees outside, you are being passive. If you are just yawning loudly, not caring for me, my words, you are being passive. And if you are just looking at the watch, oh my god, when will he stop? It's time, I just want to go out and have my dinner, I must, okay. So if you are showing such kind of irritation and such kind of disturbance, you are being passive. And that is of course in the case of listening. But remember, even in life there could be this kind of passive communication. Passive communication is not just speaking and listening. This is of course, there is passive communication in life. Some people, okay, in an office, if the boss knows about the achievement of a subordinate, or maybe, right, you have a clerk there, and of course the superior officer knew about the achievement of a clerk, and he read this particular news of the clerk winning an award, and if the officer does not congratulate him for his achievement, if he doesn't say a word of good, some kind of a word of promotion, a word of encouragement, a word of support, that is passive communication. That is passive communication, and it is very, very bad. If you see your brother's achievement, if you see your neighbor's achievement, if you see your colleague's achievement, if you see or hear about anybody's achievement or progress, be with them, congratulate them, promote them, support them. If somebody is talking in a good way, tell them you are doing a good job. Don't be passive about that. Don't just ignore it. There are some people, of course, who are just ignoring. Our youth should not do that. Our youth should just be very, very active and promoting and broad minded. This is about communication skill again. You must not be passive. Now, I'm just speaking about the third style of communication. Different styles of communication: aggressive communication, passive communication, and assertive communication. I would say, or other great people say, that assertive kind of communication is the best kind of communication. It's the good kind of communication. And what is the assertive communication style? In assertive communication style, the speaker cares for the listener. Okay, the listener cares for the speaker, and of course the speaker and the listener consider the other valuable. You are valuable, you speak good things, right? I care for you, you are important to me, okay, you are special to me, I care for you, I want you to be there, I want to listen to you, okay. And this is assertive kind of communication style. Let us have this kind of assertive kind of communication, in which we care for others, we respect for others, we just care for the feelings of others, okay. Where we have of course good body language. In this passive kind of communication style, you could be just sleeping, you would be just looking out, you would be just yawning, all that is bad. But in assertive kind of communication style, you smile at the other person, you look into the other person's eye, you just shake hands with him, just pat on his shoulder, you just hold a kind of heart to heart relationship with that person. And that is the kind of good communication style you must have, I must have. I must care for you, you should care for me. That should be our communication style, okay. And we now finish the three styles of communication styles. We have to look at one more topic, that is ways of communication. That is the next topic, a small portion. We'll see that, discuss that, thereafter we will just end this session. So once again, let's just review. See, youth can be empowered through good communication skills, positive communication skills, where you care for the other person, you love the other person, you protect the other person, you promote the other person, sometimes you shoulder the other person. That is, of course, the good, assertive kind of communication style. Aggressive, very bad. Passive, very bad. Assertive kind of communication. Now, of course, we have different types of communication. This is, of course, communication style. Now we have different ways, different modes or manners of communication, and that could be just two types of communication. There are two ways of communication. One is what is known as one-way communication. First, we are discussing, remember the topic is, you can just write down and don't be confused. So initially we saw the styles of communication, three styles of communication. One is assertive, the other is aggressive, assertive, and of course passive. Now we are discussing ways of communication, and there are two ways of communication. One is one-way communication, one way. The second is two-way communication. Let us understand that. What is one-way communication? In one-way communication, what happens? That is something kind of some. There is a little bit of yeah. It could be because of the position, right? Okay. One-way communication. There is one man who is just giving an order, or he is just communicating, and the other person, the listener or the receiver, has nothing to do with the very message. The speaker, okay, is giving the message, the receiver receives it. Oh my god, this is the message. Okay. Oh my god, why is it so? No, you cannot ask. Accept it, go home. Accept it, do it. That is the kind of first way of communication, one-way communication. Say for example, maybe the principal, okay, in the college, in the school, all right, the principal is just reading out an order. This Saturday is going to be a working day, and all the students will come in uniform. What will the students do? Can they go and ask the, no? You go there, maybe the leaders of the students go there, but they, okay, this is right. Normally you shouldn't go. And this, if the situation is such that the students cannot go there and ask the principal, why is it that, just can you just change it? That there is no such possibility. It is one way, or rather the ruler is just, he makes an order, and of course the subordinates have to obey it. This is one-way communication. And what is the second kind of communication, or the second way of communication? That is two-way communication. Two-way communication is very much there in a family, and it should be there in a family. Say for example, yeah, we are discussing something. What is, now of course we cannot discuss some situations like going for a tour or an excursion, but okay, maybe if we have good times, like no COVID, no virus, nothing, maybe you can go for a picnic. And when we discuss picnic in the family, yeah, everyone has a voice. Dad says something, mom says something, son says something, daughter says something, grandparents say something. All right, all right, and everyone has a voice. And such a kind of communication, when there is no dominance as such, when everyone can share their idea, that is two-way communication. Two-way communication. Okay, now with this we will conclude this session, and we have one more session, the last session. I will just start after some time. So let's just review what we learned so far. So far in this session we studied about different styles of communication. There are three styles of communication: the aggressive communication, passive communication, and assertive communication. We also studied ways of communication, two ways of communication: one-way communication and two-way communication. So remember all these things, and just write down all these things in your notebook, learn all these things, get a very good score in your NCC certificate examination. Moreover, be a very good individual at your home, at your school, at your office, and be the backbone of the country, the great India. Thank you so much, everybody. Respected officers, associate NCC officers, permanent instructors, and my dear parents. This is the last session of our lecture on communication skills. Before beginning the very session, I once again wish to thank the organizers, and my sincere thanks go to Principal of Nesamani Memorial Christian College, Martanda, that is Dr. K. Paul Raj, and the Principal of St. Xavier's Catholic Engineering College, Nagarkoil, Dr. J. Maheshwaran, and Colonel Vinod Bhaskar, Commanding Officer of 11 Tamil Nadu Battalion NCC, and of course the AO of the battalion, Colonel V.V. Prasad, and my dear friends, the associate NCC officers of both the college, Major Dr. Edwin Gladson and Captain Dr. A. Boyd Wesley. Thank you very much for considering me for this national workshop on role of youth in national building, nation building. I just spent some time with you. I don't know how effective I was. I just try my best to help. Maybe some of you or other, I could have helped you. Anyway, thank God, and I thank you all for this wonderful opportunity. And my sincere thanks to the carers as well. Yeah, I could just come to a program in Tamil Nadu. My mind just came there, my soul just came there, my spirit was there. I was, of course, with you all, and so glad that I could be with you all sometime for some time. Just pray for me. My prayers go to each of the officers there, the students there, and of course, let us pray for the entire world, because we are in a very dangerous time. COVID-19, the pandemic is just spreading a lot of chaos around us, and a lot of people just have problems like death, poverty, medical issues, all that. Let us just pray unto God, and may God just intervene, and maybe we just rid of this calamity. Thank you all once again. We just come to the last session of the lecture, communication skills, and part 3 we are discussing effective communication. Effective communication. And previous sessions we learned about communication, and of course ways of communication, styles of communication, and now we come to effective communication. What is effective communication? When will the communication of an individual be fruitful, effective, and when is it fruitful? I wish to draw your attention to a quotation right now. You have the great thinker and great businessman, that is of course the prominent businessman, Jim Robin. And Jim Robin has just uttered, he said, if you just communicate, you can get by. But if you communicate skillfully, you can make miracles. This is what I have to tell you. This is what I have to tell you about effective communication. Look at the board. If you just communicate, you can get by. If you just communicate, you can get by. But if you communicate skillfully, you can work miracles. This is what I have to tell everybody. This is what we have to remember. This is what is effective communication. I said the quotation 2 times, and I don't hesitate to repeat it once more. Of course, we have a lot of theoretical principles and ideas about effective communication, but there is so much truth in what this quotation contains. If you just communicate, you just get by. But if you communicate skillfully, you make miracles, right? So now we have to understand, what is effective communication? Effective communication is communication which can make miracles, which can make miracles, which can make relationships, which can just console people, which can just cure people, which can just build things. build the nation. That is role of youth in nation building. The building the nation, contributing constructively, contributing qualitatively. Anyway, although we know what is, I just told you what is effective communication, we have to come back to the theoretical aspects, and we understand the fact that effective communication involves three things. Effective communication, I repeat, you can write, cadets can write it. Effective communication involves three things. Number one, verbal communication. Number two, non-verbal communication. Number three, listening. Very important. Even your NCC C certificate examination, B certificate examination, very, very important. What uh, can decide effective communication? What are the points, or what are the aspects of communication that would of course result, or that is very crucial in effective communication? One is verbal communication, number two is non-verbal communication, and number three is listening. And it should be the proper, there must be proper verbal communication. Proper verbal communication. What is proper verbal communication? Proper verbal communication is, okay, one person speaks to the second person. There is a speaker, there is a listener, and these two have to be in the right mode. They must have the appropriate mental disposition, attitude, and the person should care for the listener, respect the listener, think of the needs of the listener, and the listener should of course care for the speaker, respect the speaker, listen totally to the speaker, completely respecting the speaker. So this kind of a mutual respect between the speaker and the listener is essential for verbal communication. And again, remember, verbal communication is speech, and for verbal communication, language efficiency is a must. Speaking, listening, speaking, reading, writing, all this is essential for our listening capacity. We should be able to listen and understand. And speaking, we should be able to speak the right words in the right structure, right sentence. Similarly, we should be able to pronounce the words in the right way. All right, every language has its own accent, pronunciation, and the English language or the Hindi, every language, any language, and that all that will of course come under effective communication, verbal communication. The very words we use, the very sentence structure or syntax, or the very accent or pronunciation, the tone, the intonation. Then next is of course, right, voice. Voice, it's very important. It's very important. Voice is very important. Verbal communication, one thing is very important, that's voice. I have been to many camps, and I have interacted with a lot of cadets in the camps. I have also interacted with the students of the colleges, and often I am disappointed, because often I am disappointed. Why? Because uh, because they don't speak in a loud voice. This is the reason they don't speak in a loud voice. So voice is very important. They should speak with enough voice, right? Speak things loudly, and when you speak things loudly, of course you give the indication that you are confident. You're confident. So if you don't speak loudly, you're speaking in a very low voice, your listener will not hear you. Maybe you're speaking on a stage. You are on a stage and you are addressing a gathering, and if you're speaking in a low voice, they will easily understand that you are diffident, you're not confident. So verbal communication, your words, your pronunciation, your intonation, your stress, your stops. And remember, in verbal communication, in speech, it is not it is not just speaking alone. Yeah, I'm just pausing for some time, and this kind of pauses must be there. There must be silence as well. And this silence, we just stop for some time. What happens? The listener can just, yeah, hear everything, grasp everything. So there must be silent as well. Okay, so that is again verbal, not always talking. Okay, so if there is silence, of course, right, you will know that yeah, there was a noise, right? There can be, and when sound comes after silence, you hear it very well. So there must be, so that's very important. Speak, and youngsters especially, youngsters must remember each time you speak, you are introducing yourself, right? Your commanding officer comes for the enrollment, or rather the commanding officer is interviewing you. You have to go for a national camp. You are of course going for maybe the Republic Day selection camp, and there you have the interview. And when the commanding officer or any of the officers are interviewing you, speak with confidence, speak loudly, and your voice very important. And this habit of speaking loudly must be inculcated from very low level, from school days onwards. Lower primary, upper primary, middle school, high school, higher secondary. And my dear students, my dear cadets, dear friends, if you do not have that habit of speaking loudly, please have it, practice it, speak loudly, full throat, with your heart out. You are just taking your energy out. The entire air in your lungs must come out. Your spirit has to come out. That is the right kind of modulation of voice. That is modulation of voice. Speak with voice, speak with confidence. You are going to be a success. And along with this, you should remember that maybe you are in a lecture, you are giving a lecture, you are in a program, you are you are giving the talk, okay? And if there are, of course, sounds from outside, that could be a problem for, of course, verbal communication. So much of noise coming from outside, a factory behind the building, maybe nearby, of course, some constructions going on, some kind of unloading is going on, some kind of excavations going on, rather. All right, so this type of industrial works and constructions going on, a lot of noise from outside can hamper proper communication. So verbal communication, so okay, speak in a very clear way, and again, not very fast. Sometimes we go very fast, right? So not again very fast. So speak with the right voice, with the right modulation of voice, with of course proper sentence structure. And sentence structure, remember, some people, they just go with very long sentence. They start with one, yeah, the Indo-Pak relationship is not very good. There are problems. There are here militancy. See, they just start with something and they end with something. Single sentence. No pause, no full stop, no comma, no hyphen, nothing. Single sentence will continue till maybe for some 20 minutes, 50 minutes, half an hour. That is terrible. That's terrible. Let's not just do. See, let us just go for simple sentences. Simple sentences. Okay. The relationship between India and Pakistan is not that good. There are problems. Problems at the border. Infiltrations we have at times. So such type of simple sentences, stopping there, stopping here. All right. So just letting the listener to ponder, think. That is proper verbal communication. And now we move on to the second point of effective communication, that is non-verbal communication. Non-verbal communication refers to, okay, it's not speaking. All right, speaking alone is not communication, I said some time ago. Non-verbal communication refers to, okay, yeah, your facial expressions, your eyes. Where do you look? Do you look at everybody? Do you look at all the people in the auditorium, in the front row, in the middle, at the back, right side, left side, front, back, everywhere? Your eyes must go everywhere. There must be very, very apt gestures as well. When you say it's a big problem, it should be a big problem. Not it should be. This is not right. It's a big problem. It's wrong. It's a big problem. Okay, it's not a big. It's not a big issue. All right, it's not a big issue. It should be like that. All right. So it's not a big issue. All right. So proper gestures, proper limbs, coordination of the limbs. All right, that should be there. That is non-verbal. Appropriate gestures, appropriate eye contact, appropriate voice. All right, all this is part of. Then again, tone. You are speaking in a normal way. Normal statements you have, speak in that way. You're raising a question, ask it as a question. You know what happened in 1924? All right, you're asking a question. That should be a question. You know what happened in 1947? It's a question. It should be a question. What happened in Nagasaki? Question. The sound should go up. What happened in Hiroshima? What happened in Kuwait? What's happening at the border between India and China? See, this kind of tone must be there. And when you can use the tone in the right way, accent, the rising and the falling, and that kind of rhythm of the language, if that's there, your speech is good. You have the apt kind of communication skill, and you are going to be accepted by, received by your audience, and they will try to, of course, follow you. I wish to speak like him, right? So, non-verbal communication, proper gestures, proper manners, apt intonation, accent, right? Nodding of the head, frowning sometimes, smiling sometimes. You can even laugh sometimes. Okay, there's nothing wrong because you want to give the feeling to the audience that yeah, you are one with them. So just be at home and do all this with so much of sincerity. And another very important thing in non-verbal communication is right. Okay, yeah, I'm standing here and my distance with the audience. Okay, if somebody is just standing in front of me, I better keep some distance. It is not because of COVID-19, not because of social distancing. Even otherwise, there must be proper distance, right? We shouldn't just go very close to the audience. That's very bad. Maybe a little bit of spit, little bit of breath, little bit of maybe yeah, some air, etc. can come from our mouth, and it can just cause some kind of discomfort and repulsion to the audience. Okay, even when you have no virus issue, no COVID issue, no problem like that, keep some distance with the audience, right? And that distance again, you must not be far away from the audience, right? Okay, you have a big stage, and if you are just leaning on the wall, and there is some 25-yard distance between you and the audience, that's very bad. So proper distancing, yeah, maybe 5 feet, 6 feet, that's good length. Good distance is 6 feet. Keep maintain 4 feet or 5 feet, yeah, 6 feet distance, not more than that, not less than that. So this kind of proper distancing is also very, very crucial in non-verbal communication. Okay, so gestures, manners, eye contact, modulation of voice, distancing, and a coordination of all that. Always respect for the audience. Okay, now we come to the third point of effective communication, that is listening. Effective communication is not just speaking alone. Speaking alone is not communication. One has to listen as well. But most often we are not good listeners. We just want to make a lot of noise. Yeah, I want to speak about myself, my family, my wife, my son, my daughter, my college, my NCC cadets. All right, I must listen to the others. What's happening in his family? What's happening in his directorate? What's happening in his college? Okay, so listening, we must listen to the other person. We must be very attentive. Yes, very attentive. The speaker must feel that we care for him. Look at him, look at his lips, look at his eyes, hear him properly. All right, and remain very attentive. If we are not attentive, we are just looking at the watch. Okay, we take the phone, look at the phone, read the message, send a message, receive a message, scratch your head. That's not being a good listener. So don't do anything of that sort. Don't look out. Okay, so you have your friend talking, you have your commander talking, you have your principal talking, and another thing is, right, the terrible thing, the most horrible thing is just yawning. Yawning is very, very bad. Don't do that. You could be sleepy. You may not have slept enough the other night, but when you are in front of somebody, when you are talking to them, don't yawn. Yawning is very bad. That's the kind of insult on that person. Please don't do that. Okay. So with this, of course, we can sum up effective communication. There must be proper verbal communication, use of language, use of words, use of sound, and there must be appropriate kind of non-verbal communication, gestures and all. And one has to be a very good listener. And a very good listener is, it doesn't matter whether it is a cadet, or whether it is the ANO, or whether it is the principal, or whether it is the CEO. Anyone, CEO has to be a listener, ANO has to be a listener, cadet has to be a listener, especially ANOs and principals and the CEOs should listen to cadets as well. They will be having a lot of problems. Yeah. And we should not give the impression that we are some kind of angry men. If they speak out something, we will just explode. No, that's very bad. We should be like everybody, like, yeah, you must be like a kind person, loving person, caring person, and cadets or your friends or your audience must feel that they can share anything. That should be the listener, the best listener. Okay, so with that, we can just come to the end of the entire session. Okay, we just had a wonderful time. We just discussed communication skills. We saw what communication is. We saw different aspects of communication skills. We also saw different types of communication skills. We saw what different ways and styles of communication skills. We also discussed effective communication. And I sum up the lecture by saying the words of the very great person Jim Robin, that if you just communicate, you can get by. But if you communicate skillfully, you can work miracles. If you just communicate, you can get by. But if you communicate skillfully, you can work miracles. So before winding up, once again, I thank the Tamil Nadu, Pondicherry, Andaman and Nicobar Directorate for arranging this wonderful 5-day workshop on the role of youth in nation building for the NCC cadets. And I thank and congratulate and just love all of you. Yeah, I have a lot of positive feelings towards you. I thank the officers. I thank everybody. And my cadets, thanks a lot for listening to me. I know I might have been quite long. I should have just prolonged a lot, but my purpose was also to just help you. So, my dear cadets in Tamil Nadu, especially in the colleges, St. Xavier's Catholic College, Nagarkovil, and of course, Nesamani Memorial Christian College, Marthandam. May God bless you all. May you have success. May you communicate effectively, and may your communication make miracles in your life. Thank you so much for being with me. Bye bye.